I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. I was sucked into the fucking vortex of my social media. 1 minute. Okay. If you're like me, your life is constantly interrupted by shit like this. Constantly. Checking your emails, arguing with some fucking idiot on Twitter. It's crazy. It feels like we're all constantly distracted. All our attention is being pulled in 20 different directions all at the same time. Google recently said that more information was created in the last 2 years than the rest of human history combined. There's just more stuff being published out there, being talked about out there, than you or I could ever keep track of and ever know. And in some senses, I feel like our brains have kind of hit their maximum capacity. Like we're always bumping up against the ceiling of our mental RAM. And I've got a theory about this, and I call the theory the attention diet. If you look back in the 1950s and 60s, for the first time in human history, we were able to produce more food than we actually needed to survive. Suddenly, people, if you wanted to go out and eat 10,000 calories, well, fuck it, you could do it. And something interesting happened around the same time, is that people realized that when given an infinite amount of food that they can eat, it's hard to stop yourself. So people started getting fat, they started getting heart disease, diabetes went through the roof. By the 1970s or so, there emerged a fitness movement. Because by the 70s and 80s, people realized, oh wait, you can't just eat whatever the hell you want all day, every day. I think we're approaching a similar point with our attention. And so the same way that people back in the 50s and 60s went a little bit crazy and started eating cheeseburgers for lunch every day, I think we've gone a little bit crazy and we're eating the mental equivalent of cheeseburgers every day. We sit here and scroll through the junk food for our minds all day, every day. And we're just now starting to realize the same way that we have to manage our physical nutrition, we have to start being very deliberate about what we put into our minds, by what we expose ourselves to throughout the day. Oh, wait, hold on. And so I've come up with this thing called the attention diet, and it's pretty simple. There are 3 parts to it. The first part is cut out all the stuff that is not enhancing your life, that's not helping you in some way. 2, find nutritional resources of information and connection. And then 3rd, be very deliberate about how you use technology. So step 1, cut out all the bullshit. This is actually, in my opinion, the most fun step. Because we all follow those people online, we all read websites that we ask ourselves, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? This isn't pleasant, this doesn't make me happy, I'm not learning anything. Now is the time to go through and cut all of that shit out. Probably the most helpful thing I did all of last year, I purged my friends and followers list. I went through my Facebook and my Twitter and I looked, every single person, I asked myself, is this a person I care about? Is this a person that I'm learning from or that is enhancing my life in some way? And if it was not a clear and easy yes, I unfollowed them. You just have to be fucking merciless about who you unfollow. Everybody's got that crazy uncle who thinks that like vaccines are a world conspiracy to like brainwash us or whatever. It's like, unfollow that shit. I mean, you could stay friends with them, just like unfollow him, just like mute him on all of your stuff. Don't get sucked into it anymore. Same thing goes for news and media sources. Take a very hard look at where you're getting your information. Ask how biased it is, ask how important it is. 90% of the news media that we consume is just not that relevant or important in the long run. What I find is that when you get rid of all the extra garbage, you actually start enjoying using these things again. It's not a compulsive thing that you feel like you have to check every 10 minutes. It actually becomes like a nice, relaxing thing to do before dinner one day. And then you read it for 15 minutes and then you're done. Like, that's the beauty of it. When you unfollow like 80% of the people you're following, there's not much to read each day. Like, you scroll a few times and now you're back to the shit you saw yesterday. So it's beautiful. It forces you to get off your phone. Point number 2, seek out nutritious forms of information. I mean long-form content. Things that take at least 10 or 20 minutes to watch or read. things that require a lot of research and thought put into them. Don't read like the stupid fluff pieces that show up that are churned out like 5 times a day on some news media website. Like, find the shit that you know the guy spent 3 or 4 months researching that stuff to write that out. That's what you should be filling your attention with every chance you get. And finally, number 3, be very deliberate about how you use your technology. The way I like to do this is to actually set up things in my environment that like disallow certain behaviors. So for instance, on my work computer, I have all social media blocked, gaming websites blocked, video stream services blocked. Like, you can't open that shit. Can't restart the computer. You can't put in a password. I give myself 30 minutes of break time per day, and that's it. I use a program called Focus for Mac OS. There are a bunch of different programs that do this. There's one called Freedom. There's one called Cold Turkey. They're great. You can get them for your phone. You can program them to only allow a certain amount of time on each website. If you only want to be on Instagram for 15 minutes a day, you can set that up. Start using this software to manage your own usage. You know, I don't even have social media apps available on my phone directly. I make it so that I have to go to the website, which is a total pain in the ass. But it's a pain in the ass for a good reason. So I don't actually fucking do it. Because look, if I go out and buy like 2 gallons of ice cream and leave it in my fridge, of course I'm gonna eat it. Like, the best way to not eat crap is to not buy crap and put it in my fridge. If you only have access to healthy sources of information, then you end up spending your time consuming healthy sources of information. Another thing that's really good to do is start setting rules about your phone. I don't bring my phone into my office. I leave it in my bathroom because you got to use it when you take a shit. You remove the opportunity to even be tempted in the first place. You don't even, like, willpower doesn't even come into the equation because the temptation's not there in the first place. My wife and I, no phones in the bedroom, although we break that rule sometimes, but still, it's a good thing to aspire to. If we're watching a movie, no phones during a movie. And if you want to get really, really hardcore, this is some hardcore shit. I know one guy who does this, but you can buy these things that you put in your electrical outlets, and they have timers on them, and you can set them up so that the electrical outlet only works certain times of day. And so what my friend did is he set it up to his Wi-Fi router. And so his Wi-Fi router turns off at 10 o'clock every single night. I'm kind of getting the shakes just thinking about that. That's like the ultra marathon of the attention diet. That's like the guy who's like only eats raw vegan, does 1,000 push-ups every day. That's only for like the true nut jobs out there. And let's talk about socializing, because one of my most important rules is that if I'm out socializing, I don't pull out my phone unless it's really important. I don't sit there, I don't fucking check email and shit while somebody's talking to me. We need to establish a new social etiquette around this stuff. Smartphones are like the new cigarettes. It's bad enough that I'm destroying my own attention right now trying to talk to you, but I'm also fucking up your attention too. Like, it's like secondhand attention smoke if I'm sitting here talking to you like this, because you can't focus on me if I'm talking into my phone or if I'm paying attention to my phone. Attention is this it's a scarce resource. It's something that needs to be practiced and managed within ourselves. And it's also something that affects other people. If my attention is all fucked up, it's gonna mess up your attention as well. Nobody likes hanging out with somebody who's always distracted all the time, because it makes us feel distracted all the time. Get your own shit in order, and then maybe your friends will want to hang out with you again. It's really basic. Get conscious about the media you're consuming, get conscious about the apps you're using. There's a lot of research out there that shows that attention spans have been dwindling over the last 20 years. And there's all sorts of negative side effects that come from that lack of attention span. You know, if we're not able to focus for more than 2 or 3 seconds at a time, we actually lose the mental ability to handle a lot of different tasks and have the discipline to see projects through to the end. So exercise your attention span. Treat it like a muscle. You know, it's like the same way we have to consciously get out of the house and be physically active, we need to consciously start training our minds to be more attentionally active. Summer's coming. Start paying attention to your attentional waistline. Get your attentional fitness in order. Start using the attention diet. And if you need me, I'll be on Instagram. Funny cat picture. Wow, it's fucking cold.